Welcome back to Becoming Dynamic Catholics. I'm Father Christian, and today we are diving into love, dating, and discernment. The real stuff young adults wrestle with in a world full of so many mixed messages about relationships and faith. And I've got two great guests here, Sophie and Justin, here with me today, and I'm excited to hear their stories and their perspective. Sophie, Justin, welcome.
Thank you, Father.
Thanks for having us.
Anytime. So I know many from Incarnation would recognize you, especially the Vigil crew. But maybe did you guys want to introduce yourself? Justin?
Yeah, sure. My name is Justin Carrion. I've been going to Incarnation for almost 2 years now. And yeah, as Father Christian said, you'll catch me at the Saturday Vigil. And also sometimes during the week if you're singing for the adult choir. On Thursdays, I also work at the parish. So, yeah.
Nice. Welcome. Sophie?
Hi, I'm Sophie Koch. I have been going to Inca since as long as I can remember. Maybe around 3 years old. I went to school there, kindergarten to 8th grade. I've been altar serving at the 5:30 Saturday Mass since I was like 10.
Oh my gosh.
Which was like a long time ago. Yeah, and I've been just helping out in different ways ever since.
Nice. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for being here. I thought this would be a great chance just to share. I know you guys from the Vigil, from young adult ministry stuff, from all sorts of things, but I thought it'd be a great chance to just talk about how you guys are just so both intentionally dating, right? And discerning a vocation, but also you're using this as a chance to both grow closer to God, but also growing closer to each other. So I thought it'd be really cool if we could share that with some people by asking you some questions. But first, I need to know the most important question. Who made the first move?
Not me.
It's technically me.
Okay, what happened?
Yeah, so when I had first come to Incarnation, it was the technically LSS, but what was it?
Living a Life in the Spirit series,
Yeah.
hosted by our young adult group at the time,
Mhm.
mixed with the Heart of Jesus prayer group.
Yeah. So I walked in, had the entire session. It was like an hour and a half. And then at the end, we had like these small group discussions. And I low-key kind of asked Sophie for her number almost immediately, but with no intention of trying to go out with her. But that's really where it started. She had been sharing a retreat that she had just gone to earlier that year with this couple, and I was very new to the community. I didn't really I honestly walked into that event not really knowing anybody at all. So when I had asked her for a number, I was like, hey, like, could I actually just get an invite to that retreat? Like, it wasn't even really asking for her number per se.
Really?
But yeah, that was our first conversation.
Wow. And
Yeah.
that was 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Wow. So it's when you started attending Incarnation?
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
cool.
July of 23.
July 20. Oh, wow.
Mhm.
Oh, wow. You guys just passed your second year.
Coming
anniversary.
up on it.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
we have one more month.
A meeting, yes.
Yeah,
meeting.
meeting, yes.
Oh, that's true. Okay. Sorry. I got
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah.
Okay. Another question then. What's something small the other person does that makes you laugh every time? Sophie, you're already laughing, so you're thinking of something.
Well, if you know him, he's already like very goofy and just does like random dancing or noises. And if you see my face, I usually look like, what the heck are you doing? But it's funny.
Nice, Justin.
For me, as she's talking, like, she never really knows that she's just saying things in a cute way. So yeah, I'll just pick on one of those. Like, I got a haircut recently, and one of the things that I always poke fun at is how she said haircut once, and she was just like, haircut? And I use that on her like all the time now.
It was one time.
And now I say it all the time.
That's all it takes.
Yeah.
That's all it takes. Nice. Well, yeah, so I thought it'd be a great chance to use today to talk with you guys about just dating as a Catholic couple in a world that seems to be kind of just not have the same values. Because, right, you have to be very intentional about it. You have to be very discerning And a lot of times, as with anything, there's sacrifices that come with it, right? Um, so I know that I've learned that in my own vocation story. As with every vocation, there's always sacrifices, but there's also a lot of joys. So I was just hoping to ask you guys some questions today about just, from your experience, especially being so closely like altar serving with the church, helping with the young adult ministry, having grown up in the church, having really had this powerful conversion back into the church, just a chance to share with everyone what you've gone through. So, what do you think is the hardest part about dating as a Catholic young adult today, especially in the world we're in today?
Well, we were talking about this actually a lot, and I think probably the main thing is just how countercultural it is
Mm.
to be in a committed relationship.
Mm.
I mean, you'll find that I'm 30. How old are you?
27.
Yeah. See, so you'll find that a lot of people in our generation honestly are kind of not even really in a committed relationship, and if they are, sometimes it's like an open relationship. So for us to even be together for like a year and a half with the desire to get married, like that's already unique in and of itself.
Mm.
So in that right, like being countercultural and like committing, that in and of itself makes it difficult,
Mm.
just because like a lot of people are not really doing that.
Mm. Yeah, that's true. Making commitments right now is not a really popular thing, and it almost seems like people are afraid or hesitant to even try to make commitments. Did you guys feel any of that, like that hesitancy, or I don't know, because I guess I ask because a lot of times when people are thinking about dating, especially in Catholic context, there's always the extremes, right? There's like, oh, they're gonna get married right away, or like, oh, it's just dating. So how do you guys kind of feel this in between, right? This just discerning with each other. That makes sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Sophie, you have your
I was like,
thinking
can you
face
repeat
on.
the question?
Yeah.
That was your thinking
That's
face.
a loaded question.
Yeah.
So I guess just what makes dating as Catholics different than just dating in general?
Just being a Catholic is already different. Being a Catholic young adult, I should say. Like I have a lot of secular friends and coworkers, and the society is like you don't talk about faith very much. So even just to talk about it with people, and then let alone dating, I had never dated a practicing Catholic before, so this was very different for me. I was like, it's kind of cool though, to relate on something that usually I have to explain to people, but I didn't have to do that here.
Oh, yeah.
So that was actually helpful.
Yeah. And I've already mentioned it many times, but it's very adorable seeing them date. They're dating, but they also altar serve at the vigil together. So it's awesome because it's a double witness. They're helping serve at the altar, but also being an example to others. Okay, so then dating as Catholics, how has your relationship with God shaped how you approach dating? Like how you approach dating each other?
You want to answer?
You can start.
Yeah. Well, for me, it makes the things a lot more serious, like in the way that I came back to my faith after 28 years of not really being Catholic. I was born and raised Catholic, but didn't actually practice my faith. Coming into a relationship with God was very intentional for me. So then entering into a very committed relationship with Sophie and like having that desire to stay committed, not only to my faith, but to my partner in this case, like it became a very formal and intentional way of, like you said, like this is an opportunity for me to get closer to God, but through the experience of being in love and having someone to walk with you on a more intimate level, especially when it comes to the spirituality of things and, how you practice your faith. So I would say in general, makes it a lot more serious, and there's a lot of values that come with it. Obviously, it could be very fleshed out in terms of like how different it is, but yeah. That's
Yeah, I think it kept us grounded in the beginning because we met at a church event, and I was constantly at church events, so it was helpful that he was already there so that we could like talk or hang out or whatever in the beginning, even when it was not intentionally dating. I had struggles before because if I was with a non-Catholic, I was always at church, and so the timing didn't really work out. And yes, to the values of what we want in ourselves and our futures, that's the Catholic values are also rare in our generation. So that was helpful because we wanted the same things.
Yeah. Okay, so we keep throwing around the word commitment and committed. It makes it sound like a lot of pressure. Do you guys, I mean, because it just comes naturally, right? Like vocations, they just happen. You don't really have to overthink them. But as you're discerning this dating, do you guys feel like a certain pressure? Because like the world, right, has really no values or no expectations on dating. You kind of make them as you go. In the church, they kind of has some values, has some expectations, so that can maybe add some pressure. Do you guys ever like feel that pressure, or do you ever even think about it?
I definitely did in the beginning, especially because Sophie was so rooted in the community. Like coming into Incarnation and joining the parish, I was literally kind of thrust into the idea of like, do I date the person that basically grew up here and everyone knows her? Like, I could potentially ruin like this person that everyone loves. You know, like there is definitely a lot of pressure in that sense where it's like this has to be a really good relationship where you're taking care of her and all those things. And at the end of the day, everyone was like, what is your intention? Like, do you plan on treating this girl well?
People are asking you that.
Yeah, definitely.
church?
Like, what are your intentions? Like, are you trying to get married with this girl, or
Dang.
are you just gonna play around? And yeah, like definitely had to sit with that at first, and like whether or not I even wanted to jump into it and take that leap of faith and ask her to be with me and like be my girlfriend. So all that to say, yeah, absolutely. There's pressure from the community that when you're like fully in it and rooted in the faith, people are going to be around to keep you accountable.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Sophie, how was your end?
I didn't feel that kind of pressure, obviously. Mine was more so just dating anybody at church. Not that I had a lot of options, but it was a thought that came across my head because everybody knows me. And I'm visible every week on the altar or walking around doing other events. So it would be very obvious if I had somebody. And I was like, oh, everybody's going to know right away. And it's kind of public. I was thinking of it like, oh, this is what it's like to date in a workplace or like on a set, this is our church place relationship. And it's kind of all eyes are on us. That was the more nerve-wracking part for me.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Wow, this is so interesting coming from priesthood vocation to the hearing other stuff, because there are pressures too, but I never even thought for people dating too. Yeah, you were going to say?
No, I was going to say on the topic of commitment, like of course marriage was thrown around too. Like people are always asking like, oh, you guys have been together for almost 2 years. Like, when are you going to get married? And that, I always bring into our own personal desires and where we're at with our choice on that. Like, not to say that we're still feeling each other out or discerning in that sense of like, do we actually want to get married? I think I could speak for both of us in saying we do want to get married. But yeah, like there is that pressure. Like people will always ask, like, are you going to get married? And that's within our desires, but only God knows,
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Wow. So you guys have discussions about that pretty openly.
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
Early on, don't waste your time, people.
Nice.
Definitely don't waste your time. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you kind of already answered this. You were saying, what role does community play, like friends, mentors, your parish, maybe your favorite priests, in keeping you grounded? You kind of already said like people were kind of holding you accountable because they already cared about you both and they wanted to see what your intentions were. Even people maybe you didn't know as well, because church, you kind of start to build family in church, even if you don't mean to, because like you said, people see you, people start to care, people want what's best for you. So what other ways do you think the community played in shaping your relationship?
I think we talk a lot about our mentors at church. Almost everybody is older than at least me. So I have a lot of people to look up to both as individuals and as couples. We know married couples that we're friends with in their 30s, 40s, 50s, etc.
Mm.
And it's been very cool to watch them be a church couple and how they are. It's been something that we aspire to.
Oh, interesting. So like other relationships have been an
Yes.
inspiration.
That have started
Wow.
and are rooted in church as well. So our
Wow.
fellow parishioners.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah. Just
Same thing. Yeah, like it never ceases to amaze me when I'm able to go to a church party and I see the different stages of life. Like Sophie was saying, we see people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, like all the way into their 80s, like still practicing their faith. Their kids are either in the church or not in the church. But having those mentors and kind of seeing a path of what success may look like for the both of us, people may not realize that the love that they share with each other, or how they go to church, or the conversations that they allow us to hear is the truth and the potential future that we could see together. So it's always nice to have that, especially in a world like what we talked about earlier. That's something that's not really common for our generation. So to see it within our church community, it makes it more possible for us and realistic. So
Oh, that's awesome. It's like their love is inspiring more love. Like the love of relationships are inspiring others to pursue that too.
right.
Wow,
Yes.
awesome. Cool. Same for priesthood. I know many of priests who inspired me to pursue this. So then, I know you both have a lot of experience with young adult ministry, right? So in your experience of both now ministering to it and your own experience of like growing in your relationship, do you think young adults sometimes overcomplicate discerning marriage? Or just even dating, like dating someone?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely yes.
Why so?
Well, I'll argue and say that sometimes people will just say they're discerning, like they're discerning marriage or whatever vocation, like if you're a man, you could discern priesthood. If you're a female, you go to religious life. And sometimes it stunts you. Like you could sit behind the excuse in some cases of just, I'm discerning. So they will not make a move. Like they'll be stuck between seeing the fork in the road and they're deciding, should I become religious or should I go try and pursue someone? And for me, like I've seen it where it's, it could be a little bit of a paralysis of choice sometimes. And where the overcomplicating comes in is like, oh, they're trying to listen to God's voice, see some signs, but it's like, we know Jesus all throughout the scripture did things. He moved, like he called you to get up and follow him. So in that way, dating, you just got to do it. Like no matter how many rejections you go through, you got to just get through it. And same thing when it comes to like trying religious life, go talk to priests, go talk to sisters, religious communities, expose yourself,
Yeah.
make some moves.
Yeah. Sophie?
I think you said that pretty well. We've watched a lot of people and maybe even ourselves think about discernment, and it can almost be a crutch sometimes, or something that holds you back if you're overthinking it, because then you don't know which way to go. But I think the reality is you have to try one or the other in order to figure out anything.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah. Okay. So what are, as you, again, we're always grounded in a culture or time, right? So we have to intentionally say no to certain things. So then, what are some unhealthy messages about love and dating you've had to unlearn that like maybe the culture taught you or society said was okay, but our values, our Catholic faith says otherwise? Maybe that you didn't even realize too until you started really intentionally dating each other.
I think not necessarily something for me to unlearn, but just something to be aware of is that our culture and our society is very much hookup culture. So that's something that I'm aware of and we're not trying to do. The other thing I think just to like think about a lot that I didn't think I would have to think about when I was dating was it actually has to do a lot with yourself. When I first started dating, I was like, oh, I'm learning a lot about myself and I have to like love myself. These are things I didn't think about. I was like, oh, I'm going to date somebody, I'm going to learn about them. But you actually learn a lot about yourself and how you are with someone else.
Interesting. Yeah.
Hmm. For me, I feel like it's just all the things that you see on social media. Like Sophie kind of talked about your own um, self-reflection, but as somebody who's like living on YouTube and living on Instagram, like you just see so much and you're exposed to so much. So you have to really filter all of that out and get the content out of your head and fill in what God wants you to have with your partner or what the church's teachings have. So on the topic of unlearning, we could spend all kinds of conversations and time to talk about that. But I think really boiling down to it, it's making room for what the church's expectations of a relationship looks like, more so than what the world will teach you.
Yeah. It's so true, because the church always says you're always a child of God, so you have to be treated and with dignity, respect, and all that. And it's hard because sometimes the culture just unintentionally teaches against that.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So what practices or habits help keep your relationship healthy and centered on Christ then? Because we've been talking a lot about it, right? It sounds like you guys have thought about it a lot, like prayed about it, experienced and had conversations with each other. So is there anything else, maybe other practices or habits that have helped? I mean, you guys also go to mass together by altar serving, so that's one. But
yeah, we go to church. I mean, one of the first things that Sophie did for me was that retreat, right? Like I had asked her about that retreat before we even started dating. That was something I was desiring, but we ended up starting dating, and I ended up going into that retreat with her already as like boyfriend and girlfriend. And it was a church retreat. It was all about love, and it helped me understand the different aspects of it. So all that to say, like, do church things together, go on a retreat, go to mass, serve like we do. We altar serve together. We help with sacristy and all other things, church, prayer, most importantly. That's probably one of the things where you'll definitely have to carry each other through. One of the things that I tried to institute a couple months ago, which seems to have been working really well, is that every night, you say your night prayer. But for me, I do my best to make sure that I always send Sophie a text at night. And I'll just pray over our relationship. Sometimes it'll be selfish and I'll just share what I had on my thoughts for that night. But at the end of the night, it's kind of like opening my spiritual heart to her and like letting her know what's on my mind, who's on my heart to pray for, kind of like the worries that I have for our relationship or even the world, especially as of late. But yeah, like prayer and doing things together that are faith related.
I agree. The prayer's been a big thing, because that's every day, whether we're together in person doing it, on the phone, or just a text. Like if I'm working, it just reminds me to pray on my own or read it and see what we're talking about. And then like if he's busy, I'll try to step into going to events like worship nights and stuff, Heart of Jesus, when we can. Another thing I try to do is like every night or whatever when we hang out, just like gratitude. I try like reflect on the day and I'm like, thank you for coming to pick me up, or little things that he does for me throughout.
Oh, like you'll tell him those?
Yes.
Oh wow, cool. Okay.
So that I'm not taking it for granted.
Oh, cool. Nice. So you guys pray about it, but you also share with each other what you pray about. Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
Now that we're verbally saying it, it's really cute. But like it's really like the thing that does keep us grounded. Like I actually didn't even think about that, but yeah. On the topic of like I try and keep prayer very solid, Sophie definitely tries to keep the gratitude very solid. Like even if it's just like a small thank you for, I don't know, coming to visit me before work or something. It's just that nice thing that we do every single day. Like that keeps us grounded. So
wow, awesome. Okay, so we've been sharing a lot, and I'm sure others are thinking of stuff now. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice about love and discernment, what would it be?
I think for me is know when to cut it. Just because you have something and maybe it was something that you were desiring, like something we were talking about earlier, like if you were discerning or dating and you finally have something, don't just keep it just because you finally have it.
Mm.
You know, like from past experience, like sometimes you got to know when to call it quits.
Mm.
Sometimes you're trying to fit something to the mold that you truly, truly want, and
Mhm.
it's just not right. And
Mm.
sometimes God may end up screaming at you and saying, like, hey, let's cut this because this isn't right for you. So, like,
Mm.
know when to cut it and know when to, listen to God and whatever signs that He's telling you, whether or not to stay in the relationship or to get out of it, whether or not that's discerning religious life or dating.
Mm.
I think mine is just to try, and also I'm someone who is like likes to stay in my comfort zone, like
Mm.
at home or with people I know. So I did have to learn to sometimes go to like an event by myself or try, going on dates even if like my friends weren't doing that. I
Mm.
want you want to do it together, but if I wanted to go anywhere with any of that, I had to do it on my own.
Mm. Ooh, yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I hear a lot of times people are like, I can't go by myself. But you're right. How else are you gonna know your vocation unless you go on your own? Wow. Well, thank you guys so much. That was awesome. I learned a lot. I had no idea. That's awesome to hear that prayer is so grounding for you guys too.
Yeah,
I did not know that, or that the church community itself was kind of
very
saying like,
much.
"Hey, treat her good."
Yeah, no, definitely.
That's awesome.
Keeps me on my toes.
Well, what you guys were sharing made me thought of a really good challenge. So the challenge for this episode, for this week, will be they were saying how there were some couples that their love inspired them to pursue the same thing. And that made me think of my own vocation. There were many priests whose love for the priesthood really inspired me to start to pursue that. So I just want you to find or think of somebody that's vocation inspired love in you, even if it's just a thought of saying, like, hey, I want that. And then just go tell them thank you. Like they were saying, it takes some uncomfortable parts. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to go out of your comfort zone. And it's good to actually take action because, sometimes we think it in our head, but we don't always let it reach other people. So just go up and say thank you to that priest, to that religious sister, to that couple, to the older couple, the younger couple, whoever it may be, whoever God has placed in your life and is inspiring you to just pursue love too, and then just say thank you to them. I know it would be a great gift, and it sounds like it has been for us who are also discerning and pursuing our vocations. Well, thank you again, Sophie and Justin, for being here, for sharing very openly and honestly today. If you're listening and something sparked a thought or a prayer in your heart, bring that to God. He works through those little nudges, through those little inspirations. Uh, that's already did the challenge. So if you're single, take a moment to pray for clarity and peace in your own vocation. And if this conversation helped, share this with someone who also might be in need of it, someone else who needs to hear. You're listening to Becoming Dynamic Catholics. Until next time, keep seeking Christ in the middle of it all. God bless.